The Working Artist Project is brought to you by Second Line Arts Collective. Learn how you can support at secondlinearts.org.
We're creating a platform for those who are curious, one that tells the story from the artist's perspective. Moments in time, captured from the innovators who are reshaping dance, music, theater, and the visual arts. This is the Working Artist Project.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Working Artist Project. My name is Gregory Agid, and today is the 4th of April, 2022. Darrian Douglas, how are you doing this evening?
Gregory Agid, I am doing good. I don't know if y'all noticed, but Greg is right behind me. This is the second time we've done this, and he refuses to be on camera with me. He hates me, y'all. But Greg, I'm doing good. I'm happy to be in your presence in real life, and we got a good show ahead of us today. You know what I mean?
I appreciate the honesty and you throwing me under the bus like that. Yes, we're going to have a wonderful show. I'm very glad to have you back in New Orleans. And like I told you earlier, man, it's nice to have you back because I don't think you've been here for like the last 2 years. And all of a sudden, in the span of 3 months, you've been here 3 times. So.
There you go. But hey, look, before we jump into the show, we do got some housekeeping. Like you say, every week we got to tell the people about the Sanaa Music Workshop that we got coming up this summer, June 6th through the 17th. And we got some special guests, right, Greg?
We have a bounty of special guests this year. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with what we do, Second Line Arts is a nonprofit organization based out of New Orleans, Louisiana. And we started this whole project off with a summer camp. So this year we'll be hosting our 6th annual Sanaa Music Workshop. And if you all know any young people interested in pursuing a career in the arts, send them over to our website, secondlinearts.org, and you can register for our camp over there. It's going to be a 2-week camp, and we have a very special guest coming in from Chicago, Mr. Marquise Hill, who will be joining us the first week. I believe we just got the fantastic Jason Marcellus, wonderful percussionist and vibraphone player, and probably the best whistler on the face of this earth. And he's going to be joining us the second week of camp. And we also have a bunch of wonderful industry professionals that are going to be joining us talking about different aspects of what they do in the music business. So once again, yeah, please send the young people our way, and you can register for the camp at secondlinearts.org.
There you go. So y'all know what to do. All right, y'all, let's get right into the show today. We got the one and only Jocelyn Gould, guitarist extraordinaire. I think she's our first Juno winner, which is the Canadian equivalent to a Grammy, as we just had the Grammys yesterday. She is basically a Grammy winner. So, you know, she's famous. She went to school down in Michigan. We got a lot of friends in common, and I think I'm pretty sure when she comes on here in a second, she'll correct me if I'm wrong. But I think she's from Winnipeg, which is a dope little town, I would say, or medium-sized city in Canada, if you don't know. But without further ado, let's welcome the one and only Jocelyn Gould to the Working Artist Project. What up, Jocelyn?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good. How you? It's Winnipeg, right?
Yeah, I've never heard Winnipeg described as a dope little town before, though. So this is a first for me.
I played that you know how y'all have that tour across Canada where you play all the jazz festivals?
Yep.
I did that. That's the only reason I came to Winnipeg.
Okay. Who were you doing that with? What year?
I was what year? I'm the wrong guy for that, but
okay.
I was doing it with Bria Skonberg several years ago.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah.
There's a strong Canadian connection happening on this podcast. It's just like hitting me now because you have the connection with Bria, and last week we had Curtis on, and this week we have Jocelyn. I play with Michael Bublé, so yeah, this is like we need to get some Canadian sponsorship here.
Seriously, I think you could.
What's that coffee shop? Tim
Hortons. Yep.
Yeah, man,
You would love it.
That's right. We need y'all to give us, we are a nonprofit, so you can go ahead and donate 10 million to us right now. We're gonna do some good things in the music.
Tim Hortons would donate some like Timbits, which are these like little donut circles. So maybe don't go to them.
I'm
But
fine with that too. Coffee. I do coffee every morning. I could have it flown down from Toronto every day.
all right. Okay. Well, I'll get in touch with them. I'll put in a word.
So how is it that there are so many amazing Canadian musicians? Like, what's that about? I was just joking with Curtis on Facebook, and I was saying, is it the snow? Like, what is it that you think kind of help y'all? What's in the water down there or up there?
I don't know. That's interesting. I actually feel like there aren't all that many amazing Canadian musicians. Maybe it's just that they stick out because I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's very obvious that we're Canadian, so it's just very clear. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. You hit me with a hard question right off the bat.
We tried to get the hard questions out off air when I asked you what your favorite food was.
That's true, right? That was easier than this. I think, well, I can speak specifically about Winnipeg. Curtis is from Winnipeg too, and I've known him since grade 9. So we knew each other when we were kids. I think Winnipeg is really isolated. The nearest city is at like over a 6-hour drive away. So I think because of that, we're like very self-sufficient. We have to, create our own scene. And so I do feel like, particularly from Winnipeg, there's people who take initiative to, be a part of the arts scene, just because if we don't do it, nobody else will. No one really comes through Winnipeg except for maybe during festival season, but it's not really, even moving to Toronto here, like people are just here all the time. I stopped in at a club the other day and Dana Stevens was playing, and it was just like, that doesn't happen really in Winnipeg. No one's just like in town. So specifically from Winnipeg, there are like quite a few great musicians. Like Joni Mitchell is from just that neck of the woods. And I don't know. I think it's something about being really isolated. It's really cool. There's not too much to do. So
And just like that, you name one of the greatest musicians of all time. Right after you said, hey, nobody from Canada that good. Oh, except for Joni Mitchell.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Something happening with the education system, or like you said, like that, having the need to create something out of nothing is great motivation. So, because it seems like a lot of Canadians are self-starters. You don't become Michael Bublé out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, I think that does make sense. I think, it's a lot less likely that you're going to be heard by someone or join someone's band. So I think there are a lot of leaders like Bria, leaders in Canada, just because you have to get it started yourself a lot of the time.
What you mentioned that you grew up with Curtis. Just out of curiosity, what was like your musical upbringing like in a place like Winnipeg? And for someone who does grow up in a town like that, how did you get into studying jazz and being such a great musician yourself?
Yeah, my parents are both hobbyist musicians. They both played guitar just as a hobby. And my dad was an elementary music teacher for his career. So when I was growing up, I kind of just like, I don't know, I started singing before I could walk, before I could make words. I was singing in not words. And just like, I don't know, was just always, like, as long as I can remember, have been very passionate. I mean, I play guitar, but I like singing as my first passion. And I don't do it professionally, but I just love to sing and sing all day, every day, you know, and I just have had that since I was little. And my mom played guitar and sang me to sleep every night as a kid, as a baby. And she's really like, yeah, so she just as a hobby, she just loved to do that. So I think I just got bitten by the musical bug very, very little, and just as long as I can remember, have been really passionate about beautiful melodies. And I actually didn't start playing guitar. I was late to it. I graduated from high school. I didn't do high school band or anything like that. I started playing guitar in my bedroom in high school. I like didn't tell anybody. It was like, no one can ever know that I play guitar. It was like kind of my own little like personal thing that I did for myself, just like my own little just thing that I did for my own soul in my bedroom. And I graduated from high school and started a chemistry degree. Did 3 years of a chemistry degree, and there was a jazz program starting at my school, and a bunch of amazing musicians were coming up from New York and from elsewhere as well to teach, like Jimmy Green and Quincy Davis, and Terry Gully was up there for a year. Terry Gully was at my undergrad audition, and I just like started going to the jam sessions they would host and just got like totally obsessed. So I quit chemistry and auditioned for the jazz program, and that was kind of how that happened.
I think that was the best decision you ever made.
I think so too. Yeah.
I dig this. Now, you just said something that tickled my spidey senses here. You said you play guitar to please your own soul. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah. You know, and this happens when I'm playing and also when I'm singing. I don't know, there's just like something when you're making music, there's just and you like do something that just like particularly, it's almost like this feeling you can't describe. It's something I think that it's like feeding your soul. I think that's the best I can describe it. You just feel something that you can't feel otherwise. And I was really I spent a lot of time as a teenager just playing in my bedroom, writing songs. I was like a prolific like singer songwriter as a kid, just for myself. Like no one could know.
Why didn't you want anyone to know that you play guitar? Was like any type of like stigma associated with that, or?
I don't know. I think because I secretly really, really cared about it so much that it was like too precious to me. I didn't like want anyone to judge me. I think I was like, this is too like close to this is too exposing, I think, of who I really am for me to show people right now. I think I was also young.
It's as you say that, I'm like reminded of myself. I went to an all boys high school, and it had let's say hyper masculine type energy, and being a 6'2" or 6'3" clarinet player, like I didn't really want that broadcast around the school, and so I would definitely identify with kind of wanting to keep your musical talents on the DL. I'm sure like a lot of people listening, we all deal with some type of, I don't want to, maybe self-doubt might not be the right word, but like we're timid and sometimes we get nervous. And how did you overcome that fear in you and maybe step out into the stage and begin performing and showing your talents to the world?
Mm-hmm. It took me a lot. I was so afraid of performing at the beginning. When I like in my first few years of school, I would like cry during ensemble performances. Like I was very nervous and very or not nervous, I guess, just I cared about about it so much. And I think there's this period when you're learning that's really tough, where you've, you know, put a lot of time in and it hasn't manifested into something really yet. I think there's a big delay between like input of time and that work kind of showing. And so for the first few years I was like, I practiced all day and then I messed up this, or like I couldn't play what I wanted to play. I was really like just very, I just wanted to, I think, be able to play what I wanted to play. And over time, I think I just learned to, I think improving helped, like getting a little bit better at being able to like play the melodies I was hearing, or, you know, just feeling a little bit more like I was expressing myself the way I would like to be able to was helpful. And I think also just maybe growing up a little bit and being able to distance myself from maybe what I thought people would think of me if I like wasn't amazing, or, you know, all of that stuff.
You know, as artists, sometimes we forget as we progress how intimate creation is. You know, in the process of that creation doesn't start on the bandstand. So like, it's easier to create when you're alone, right? You're in the room, in a dark cave, playing paradiddles and doing these cool things, and you get in front of the audience and you have to open up and be completely vulnerable in front of 100 to 10 million strangers, or whatever your audience is at that time. And that takes some getting used to, because you have to be willing to not be perfect.
Yeah.
That's the part that is a struggle. It's like you just said, you have to get used to people judging you. And then you have to learn too, like, the only people that are really judging you are your peers. Because the audience, they don't fucking know. They just like, that was great.
Totally. And don't you love, I've come to, or have you ever found that your favorite part of a performance has been like the more human, when you're at like watching a concert, that your favorite part is the human part, that, you know, mistakes are awesome. Like, they're great.
I'll never forget, I don't know if you know this guy, you guys know Wayne Tucker.
Yes.
We listened to music at Smoke one night to some people, and they were really good. And he was like, man, you know, this is really good, but it's boring because there's no struggle in this music.
Mm.
And I was like, damn. He was like, nobody came to hear them be perfect. You know, when all art, you want to see the struggle. Every great story has a struggle.
I don't
Yeah.
know if you gotta struggle that much, but yeah. No, it's funny because, like, yeah, no, I see what you're saying, and I agree with that to an extent. But I think all, at the same time too, like, it's really easy for artists to fall into the trap of like, I need to struggle, or this is not going to be good. But yeah, balance. It's always about balance.
Not like the physical struggle, like not you're struggling, but like just what I'm saying. The struggle to me means the human element in the creation of the art.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you're playing and every note is perfect, that's boring, you know. It's like if you go look at Picasso, it's beautiful because it's fucked up. That's what I mean. Like, not the other part, that artist Smith shit, not that shit. I want to be rich. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah, I'd like that. I agree.
But anyway, I'm giving a soliloquy over here, Jocelyn. We here to talk about you, not about my thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm very happy to be hearing your thoughts, though.
Why didn't you move to New York? Or you were in New York for a while, or you left. What happened? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I eventually, when I finished school in Manitoba, in Winnipeg, I wanted to move to New York. And generally for Canadians, the easiest way to go to the States is through a student visa. So I actually wasn't interested in going to school for like in like doing a master's at all. I would have preferred to just move straight to New York, but that's hard to do when you're not a citizen. So I looked around for schools, ended up going to Michigan State University, which was such a blessing in disguise. I learned so much there in my short 2 years and made a ton of great friends. And then from there moved to New York in 2018, right after I graduated Michigan State. And actually, I planned on being in New York for like at least a decade. I was like, okay, this is it. This is like what I'm doing. And I, was working really hard to get on the scene and loved it. But in a year later, like spring 2019, the head of guitar position at Humber College in Toronto opened up, and that's like Canada's biggest, that's like our big music school. So I applied and ended up getting the position, so came up to Toronto in fall 2019.
Money.
Yeah.
So okay, wow, that's awesome. So it's funny because actually Darrian and I were just talking about academia versus
Perfect.
performing, and I'm not gonna make this about me, but what influenced your decision to transition into the education sphere as opposed to continue to pursue the performance career?
I'm actually like weirdly passionate about like being a teacher. Maybe because both my parents were school teachers. I actually like want to do it, and I've like fought wanting to do it for a long time. I've been like, that's not what I should be doing, you know what I mean? Like I should be, but I don't know, there's something about teaching that I just really really love. And also like if Toronto's, I like Toronto, and was just sort of like, oh, I think that could be a really cool learning and growing experience. So yeah, and it's actually very close to New York, only an hour, like 45-minute flight. So I can go back. I was like, okay, I can go back and forth. And yeah, just loved the idea of being able to help, like, even though I was like still in my 20s when I applied for this, just like I was like, I want to be a part of shaping the next generation, which is so funny when you're like still kind of young. But yeah,
It's kind of a good thing too, because a lot of times I think it's in some ways easier for young people to connect with a teacher that looks vaguely the same age as them, and sometimes that has its downfall too. But it's a lot easier to hear advice from someone that looks like they just experienced something similar than you versus like someone who's noticeably older, and you're like, that advice is so dated. What are you talking about?
totally.
As a teacher, what do you hope to impart into your students, and what do you think? What do you want your students to know leaving school, and what do you think it's important for them to be prepared? Like how should they be prepared for the real world?
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm very curious to know what you think. But
Uh-oh.
I guess what I think is just to whatever it is that you would like to do, like first of all, you can do it. Like if you're so super capable, I find just that knowing that you're capable of achieving what you would like to achieve, I think is half the battle. And then just sort of the mentality of approaching what it is that you would like to achieve wholeheartedly, and just not waiting for things to come to you. I think we can really kind of take initiative, pick our goals, figure out what we would like to do, figure out how we can, how we can achieve our goals. I think that things are very, if you have a goal, I think you can, you know, probably get there, which is maybe is like a little naive on my end, but yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I
Feel
mean,
like philosophically.
I believe, yeah. I mean, all education and all achievement in life begins with a goal. You have to have a vision. I totally agree with that. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, it's funny because there's a part of me that, like, I mean, I love teaching. Teaching is one of my passions, and it's there's. I'm thinking of this quote that my mentor, I read somewhere that he said it was like, "There's nothing like quite like the experience of seeing the light up in
Mhm.
someone's eyes." And yeah, that's something that I think is very special and very unique about being a teacher. Is like just kind of like walk hand in hand with someone through their development. And at the end of the year, it's like, look, man, you're playing all your major scales. You couldn't do that 7 months ago.
Totally.
But yeah, I think I, tr- I don't know. I mean, for me, like, I really want to. I feel like I try to gauge every student's like what they want and maybe like how they act in the classroom a little bit. Like there's some cats who like I teach high school. So there's some cats who are like, yeah, I'm going to be a mathematician next year. It's cool. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like that's fine. It's like, as long as you're cool in class and you sound decent, we're cool. But then for the kids who are like, I want to be a musician, I'm like, all right, well, that guy over there who wants to be a mathematician is practicing more than you. So what's up with that? But I don't know. I feel like
Totally.
I'm not trying to be like I never try to like have a gotcha moment with any of the kids or anything like that. But I definitely, I'd be curious to know actually, like, as a musician, is there like any type of like subsidy in Canada for musicians, or how does that work?
Yeah. Canada is actually pretty, and I took this for granted until I lived in the US. Canada actually has a lot of funding for artists, and
Really?
yeah, there's a lot of grant money. There's actually a really cool um, grant that just started, and it's basically like you kind of apply for it and get it. Like, this is just an example. Canada just started this new program for uh, musicians with young children to be able to bring childcare on the road with them.
What?
Yeah, like pretty damn cool. Um, yeah,
Wow.
of course, no system is perfect, but I took that type of thing for granted until I realized, like, oh, like not everywhere is doing that, you know.
Yeah, for my kids here in New Orleans, I'm like, yo, like, if you're not gigging and if you don't have a good paying job or whatever it is, like, you better be real because there's no one's gonna come help you. Uncle Sam is busy somewhere else in the world doing
Yeah,
whatever he's doing over there. But and so I guess for me, like, as a musician, like I definitely I wholeheartedly believe that if you work hard and have a dream and tirelessly pursue it, anything is possible. But yeah, I also want to keep it real with the kids and be like, yeah, like,
but
gotta
also probably not
gotta put
possible.
gotta put the time in too,
You know. Yeah, totally. Yep. It's a balance between being like, you can do anything, and like, but probably it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, it's a vibe out here. I'm gonna try to just switch because Greg already knows I'll go down the rabbit hole on this topic for sure.
I thought we were just talking and you said you changed your mind on education.
No, I didn't say that. No,
Dar-
that's
Darren's
serious.
an avid lover of colleges and he believes wholeheartedly that you want to get your doctorate.
Colleges is a racket. That's complete bullshit. But Jocelyn, I know you are an educator, so we're not gonna get into. I'm not gonna.
That's that I would love to let you, like, I fully respect and probably agree with everything you would say.
Okay, cool. I had a different question. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, it's still kind of pertaining to your work at the university, but I'm just wondering, do you feel freer now that you have a not I hate the word stable job, but just a more consistent, you can consistently predict your financial situation every 30 days? Does that free you in any way?
Um, it's sort of a double-edged sword, I think, because like financially, yes, I guess it's um, you know, nice to know to not be like, hey, well, my ability to, pay rent depends on how many gigs I happen to get. It's not it's not a variable, but you're also very tied down in, so um in some senses I feel less free. I actually just got back to Toronto last Monday. I was on a 7-week tour in the States, and was when I asked to do this tour, I was like, oh yeah, they'll totally let me. And they did, but I found out later I'm still, new to like this type of job. I found out later people were like, they let you do that? And I was like, yeah, why wouldn't they? They were like, they never let. That's like crazy that you were able to do that. So I think just the lack of freedom, like being responsible to something like that, is less freeing. But I mean, of course, having a predictable income does reduce stress in that area.
All right, I'm gonna make this about me now.
Great.
No, but do you? How do you? I mean, again, like that's, and I guess we're always finding that balance between like some type of stability and going for adventure and taking risks and things like that. Do you like? I'm in the midst of like the same type of decision, and how do you feel about like, yeah, what happens when you get that dream offer and school is like, no, sorry, you need to there's the freshman guitar recital at lunch. And they're playing four, was it 4-on-6? What's that tune?
I love that.
Oh yeah, no, I love it. It's a great tune. But you play the fifth guitar part and you can't leave. I don't know, like, and what's weird for me too is like, I'm like, like I don't have kids and I still consider myself to be relatively young. And how do you feel about maybe like looking into the future, and is that something that like you've considered in your pursuit of academia?
I would leave if it like I'm not like if I really wanted to do something,
Right.
I would leave. Like that's kind of a deal I made with myself. Like I have to, like, if it gets in the way, then it's not for you. If it gets in the way of your dreams, then it's not for you. And I remember talking with one of my teachers. I was talking with Rodney Whitaker, who's the head of Michigan State, when I was like considering accepting this position, and he was like, "You don't have to do it forever. Just go get some money. Like, just," he was like, "Go get your money and do it until it's not right for you." And that could be 1 year, that could be longer. It doesn't really matter how long you do it.
That is indeed sound advice. But you mentioned your dream. So what is your dream situation, and what does that look like exactly?
That's such a good question. I love recording. I just ran home from, I recorded an album yesterday and today. So it was like running home from that. So I'm still kind of like high from recording all day today. I would love to record all the time. I love writing music. I love recording. I love traveling, and touring and performing as well. But there's something that I just really, really love about like writing a tune and seeing it like into completion. So if I like, my dream would probably be some touring, but also just getting to compose and record and put out records and do that all the time. I would love that. Yeah.
It's funny because sometimes in life, your dreams intersect. So you could be living one dream, but then you get offered your other dream. And so that's when it becomes difficult. Which dream do I really want to live right now?
Yeah.
Has it ever happened to you?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, what did you do?
I think so.
Flip a coin? What'd you do?
I just made a decision, I think. I think I've gotten like fairly good at just sort of like, because especially as musicians, we're faced with these types of decisions all the time, like 2 gigs in a night, or this or that. And I think that one skill that is great for us to have is just to be able to like pick a path and go with it and not question it, and just pick one and be like, this is what I'm doing. This is my path right now.
This is my path right now. And I like what you said earlier with Rodney. Said you don't got to do this shit forever, man. You do this for 6 months, man. Keep it moving.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally. I love that. I love that too. That's Curtis. Curtis always says that. Just keep it moving.
Keep it moving, baby.
I've been telling myself for the last couple of weeks, I'm like, the worst type of decision is indecision.
Yes. Yeah. And things like a decision is only a decision if there's pros and cons. Like if there aren't, if it's not hard, then it's not a decision, then it's just clear. So like a decision is only a decision if there's something to be lost on each side or gained on each side, I think.
I think this is a good opportunity right now for us to listen to this song that you wrote about yourself. I'm making stuff up, y'all. I don't know. It's called Gemini. What's this one about? And then I'm gonna play it for my people.
I'm a Gemini, and I guess I wrote it because there's like 2 super different sections, and Geminis are known for having like drastically different personalities. So that's why I called it that.
Here we go. We about to get real intimate with Jocelyn right now. Gemini. Right, y'all. That right there is called Gemini by the one and only Jocelyn Gould. And we over here, me, her, and Greg having some interesting conversations.
All I'm saying is that if there's 2 clarinets playing at the same time, maybe you'll be able to hear us.
Oh man,
Jocelyn, what inspires your compositions, and do you feel like inspired by a certain composer or maybe
Hmm.
subject matter in life?
Oh, geez, that's a great question. I've been really into writing songs my whole life. And like I was mentioning, I grew up in central Canada, which has like a pretty long history of songwriting. Um, Joni Mitchell and Neil Young is from Winnipeg, and Bob Dylan is from like, Minnesota, like very close to Winnipeg. So just that area of, um, I don't know, there's just a lot of like, that's sort of what I grew up kind of hearing. And I think ultimately that's like sort of where my compositional heart is. So I think that I usually just want to like compose a melody that kind of resonates with me, is like a melody that I think is singable and something that yeah, I think melodies are what I've always sort of been drawn to, and my favorite improvisers are, so melodic. Yeah. Favorite composer, probably Joni Mitchell. Like, that's that's sort of who I grew up listening to.
I think it's interesting that in the cats that you listed, none of them are traditional jazz musicians. So I'm like wondering, you
Right.
use the word songwriting to describe the passion that you have for composition, and I was wondering if is songwriting different than writing tunes or standards, or how do you see that?
I don't think so. I think, I mean, well, for me anyway, I think that a lot of it is this the same. A lot of us are working with. I mean, it's like sound. It's all sound. I don't know. I like struggle to find super major differences. I guess. I think.
you know what it is? People forgot. Jazz musicians got so deep in the chord changes that they forgot real
Mm,
motherfuckers listen to the songs like normal people who don't know chord changes and don't know intricate rhythms, and they don't know these things or care about them at all. So when you get somebody like Bob Dylan or Mississippi John Hurt, people who are writing more simplistic forms, and
mhm,
like and you get a person like you, Jocelyn, who admires those people, all of a sudden the music you write is very accessible. You know what I
mm,
mean? It's like anybody can listen to it and feel good versus
mhm,
somebody who studied what 17 plus 18 minus 32 C sharp 11 B flat
mm.
this and that. You know what I mean? It's like that's the difference. I don't think there is a difference. There's just like Duke Ellington said, it's only good and bad music, and most quote unquote jazz musicians write bad music,
Mm.
in my humble opinion. And write me in my emails, and I can tell you how much your music sucks if you don't believe me.
I was having a really interesting. This for some reason just makes me think of this. I recently um, had an interesting conversation about Joni Mitchell with Steve Wilson, and he was saying that he thinks, because jazz music, like, yeah, jazz musicians are they love Joni for, and I was like, why do you think that is? And he was like, I think that like the way she doesn't adhere to form, like she plays and sings so freely, and there's often no form to her music, and that's like very similar to like blues, um in
Dylan
that
did
it
that too, right?
totally.
But most of
Yeah.
Bob Dylan's music sucks. In my opinion, it's terrible. It's like out of tune and shit.
I feel like we agree on a lot of things. Yeah. um yeah, so I thought that was, yeah, super interesting. I hadn't thought about that, like the connection of like the lack of form, you know.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned that you were just getting out of the studio. So can you tell us about the project that you have coming up and when we can be expecting to hear another record.
Yeah, I just recorded my third album this weekend, but I haven't put out my second one yet. So I have two kind of ready to go. So this weekend I was doing a 4-night run at the Rex here in Toronto, and Quincy Davis came up from Texas, and Rodney Whitaker came up from Michigan, and Randy Napoleon, who's another guitar player, came up from Michigan as well. And we played 4 nights at the Rex and then just spent two days recording. So it's new music, and I probably won't release it till for a year and a half or something, but it was really fun to record it. Virginia recorded with us as well, so it was like kind of a cool configuration, 2 guitars and clarinet. It was like very weird, but super fun to do.
I'm writing in the chat, clarinet's the best.
Clarinet. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
And shout out to Virginia, because I have to say, without a doubt, she's one of my favorite clarinet players that's out there playing right now, and I think she's undoubtedly probably one of the best out there right now. She's so killing.
It's like, yeah, totally. She's super incredible. Yeah, super fun.
On Instagram and immediately called Greg. I was like, "Have you seen this?"
Crazy. Totally.
Like, oh yeah, that's my friend. Oh shoot.
Yeah, she's super cool too. Like, really just amazing. Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. Why are Canadians all so friendly? Maybe we get your perspective on this.
I actually know the answer. And we're not actually that friendly. So there's a few reasons if you really want to know.
And I genuinely mean that as a compliment, because every Canadian that I've met is just very personable and kind and just wonderful,
Aww. I think it's fake. Okay, I have several theories of. Well, there's I really think I know this. So I guess there was a whatever conflict between when Canada and America were forming, and those who stayed loyal to Britain or whatever. I'm not a historian. This is probably not even what happened, but
it's okay. You could just say conviction and confidence, and we'll definitely digest this fact.
Right. Those who stayed loyal to Britain, I think, were more possibly there was a mild-mannered, less defiant culture, supposedly. This is what we were told, which is probably also indoctrination. And so apparently the more mild people stayed up north. I don't know. There's probably a lot of falseness in that.
I will say this. In 2019, we spent a lot of time in the UK, and that was really my first time out there. And all of a sudden, it made sense to me as why some Americans are the way they are.
Yeah.
This is where they're from.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say a lot without saying anything.
Yeah.
Just read the people's history of the United States. Okay. We're going. Hey, listen, Jocelyn, we're coming up on time here, unfortunately. So before we go, I want to make sure we give you an opportunity to tell the people where they can connect with you.
Yeah.
Where they can buy your Canadian flag.
I feel like I made myself sound very patriotic just now, which I'm not at all.
But yeah, tell people how they can link with you and how they can buy everything that you sell.
They can go to my website, jocelyngould.com. Instagram, I guess Jocelyn Gould Music. Facebook, Jocelyn Gould Music. Yeah, I think my website, I try to keep up to date with dates and all of that.
Beautiful. So y'all go over to jocelyngould.com and you can buy your Canadian flags, hats, t-shirts, buttons, all of that stuff over there. I'm sure you can find Jocelyn also on Instagram, definitely on Facebook, and she's easy to find. Oh, you know what I forgot to say? I got 5 sisters, and one of them is her name is Jocelyn.
I know this because the one time we texted about a gig that you weren't able to make, you were like, "I'll remember your name because my sister's name is Jocelyn."
Oh, I remember that now. Yeah, that's
And spelled the same way, right?
yeah, it's spelled the exact same way.
Oh, which actually I think is the boys' way of spelling it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I've learned that like the girls' way is supposed to have an E on the end.
Oh, dang. Well, I don't think nobody got that memo. You know what I'm saying?
No, nobody got the memo.
Jocelyn, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was really a great opportunity to sit down and have a chance to talk. And your music is really incredible, and your guitar playing is beautiful. You have a fantastic tone on the guitar too. It's really very tasteful.
Oh, thanks. Thank you for having me. I've been like, yeah, I mean, Darrian, I'm such a huge fan of yours. So I was, really, really excited to get asked to do this. So thank you.
Oh man, thank you. I'm a huge fan of yours, man. Me and Greg was driving to his house, bumping your record as loud as we could in the car, letting everybody know what's up.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
All right, y'all. My name is Darrian Douglas.
And I'm Gregory Agid.
This is the Working Arts Project, and we'll catch y'all later.